Welcome, everyone. This is Our Travel Experiences. I'm your host, Kyle Rasmussen, and today I'm with my good friend, John. How are you today, John?
Man, I'm doing great, Kyle.
Good,
Thank
good.
you.
I'm glad. I'm glad to finally do this. I know we've been trying to schedule this, but I'm excited to hear about your travels. I know you've traveled all over the country for all sorts of different reasons over the years, so I'm excited to hear about some of them.
Yeah, I tend to keep my travel to North America, those long plane rides. I'm sure I'll make one day, but there's something about me sticking 8 to 10 hours or longer on a plane is why I probably keep it in North America.
Yeah, those long flights can be brutal.
Yeah.
I've been on some long ones. Getting prepared for a long one in November.
Oh, wow.
Going to Seattle to Doha and then on to Nepal. It's
Hey,
like 15 hours and then 5 hour flight.
wow.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild. But anyway, so I know recently you've traveled to Palm Springs, San Diego with your family. Tell me a little bit about those trips.
Yeah, actually, I think the most recent was Phoenix for a volleyball tournament. But yeah, we usually that kind of that kind of replaced our annual Palm Springs / Southern Cal visit. I just love California. I know California
Yeah,
they get a lot of flack, but there's a reason that it's so populated. It's just an amazing state. I love the vibes in California and the food. The food is the shit, bro.
yeah,
Yeah. San Diego with all the Mexican seafood, you know, basically all the Mexican flair. And it sounds funny living in a place like Yakima. It's got a lot of Mexican food, and being Mexican, it's just like you go down there and it's just a total different angle on it.
yeah.
It just makes it amazing.
It's like a whole different level.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love San Diego and just the food down there in general. I mean, you can't go wrong with any spot, to be honest.
San Diego is just one of my favorite places. And I haven't even been as many places as you in the world, but it's got to be up there. It's got to be a
Yeah,
top 10. I don't know if you would agree, but
yeah, for sure.
just the beautiful Pacific Ocean, the beaches are great. Um, I would imagine if you're a single male that the female contingent is probably pretty great. I can't speak on that anymore as a married man of a daughter, but I imagine that's a plus being over there.
Well, yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what is it like? Going to Phoenix for a volleyball tournament. What's that? That's got to be kind of hectic, I would imagine.
Yeah, I usually try to book like 2 days before and 2 days after. So it winds up being a lot longer trip, but number one, my daughter could be a little bit more rested for the game instead of just
Yeah.
flying first thing. But the main thing is to kind of hang out too, you know. So we'll usually get there about 2 days before, and then it's just a mad dash to find all the local bomb cuisine, or all the local coffee shops. That's another little deal that my wife and I love to do, is just really just find all the good coffee. Maybe that's why we stick a lot to the West Coast, because as you go
Yeah,
more central, the coffee does take a hit.
I would agree.
But West Coast has great coffee. And I just love hitting new coffee shops. And like I said, getting all the food I can get. In-N-Out's a must as soon as you touch down anywhere that has an In-N-Out burger.
Definitely.
And just for all of I know it's a big debate out there. I've had them both. And in Phoenix, I had both Whataburger and In-N-Out, and I lined them up, and In-N-Out blows them away. So I'm going to have to put that debate to rest. I don't know. Have you had Whataburger?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I just took my cousin to Austin, Texas.
Another great city.
Yeah, great city. But he had never had In-N-Out or Whataburger, and so I was like, okay, we're gonna test both of them out. I don't think he super enjoyed either one, but he's put Whataburger slightly ahead.
Oh,
But he's definitely wrong.
is he a native Texan?
What?
Is he a native
Yeah,
Texan?
he's from here, from Yakima.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But no, I think In-N-Out is miles above Whataburger.
Yeah, unless that specific Whataburger in Phoenix wasn't the same as the Texas ones. I mean, it wasn't the same experiences that I don't know if you do remember, but I spent my college years down in Central Texas, and I was a big fan of Whataburger, but I think In-N-Out's got them by far and away.
I think especially if you get the animal fries, that's the way to go.
Yeah. I think my son Sam got a triple or a quadruple burger
Oh
last
gosh.
time. Plain, of course, but I think it set him down for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I went to In-N-Out when I moved to San Diego for college. My friend was like, "Oh, you got to do the 4x4." I was like, "I don't know what that is." Sure. And they come out with friggin' massive hamburgers for me.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I ate almost the whole thing. I was like, "This is the greatest fast food I've ever had."
He did a number on it. And we usually hit In-N-Out. I know this is going to sound crazy. Is probably why I've spent my time above the scale, and I'm not top end of the scale. But we'll go 2 or 3 times on a week. Just we know we're not going to get In-N-Out when we come back, and so after that 4 patty, Sam didn't want to go for a couple of days. He had enough. But
yeah, that's a lot.
In-N-Out's a great place. But yeah, Cali is just amazing. They got great coffee, great views. I love specifically, I love Don Bravo's in La Jolla, California. That place is amazing. And then Oscar's on Pacific Beach. I mean, those 2 places, the ceviche and the fish tacos. I mean, there's nothing like being on the beach, slapping some fish tacos, maybe with a cold beer in your hand,
That's the
can
dream
you beat
right there. No. That's called heaven on earth right there.
Yeah, no, that's a good time. So what we'll do, Kyle, is we'll usually I try to find, I try to plan it so that we fly into San Diego, rent a car, and then we take a road trip, and then we'll spend some time in Palm Springs area, most specific La Quinta, California.
Mm-hmm.
But we usually do that in February when it's really cold in Yakima, and even San Diego's kind of chilly at that time, and you go to the desert and it's like 90 degrees.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's perfect time to be down there.
Yeah.
So what about Phoenix? What are some good places you found while you were down there to eat or drink?
Yeah, well, Phoenix, I will say that the veer away from top-notch coffee really probably starts in Arizona. Phoenix had okay coffee. I think we went to this place called Cartel Coffee. They have a few locations in that area. Cartel Coffee we hit a couple times. Sadly, and I say sadly because I prefer to go to like local, I prefer to find the local spots, but we were digging the Whole Foods coffee there.
Okay.
And, honestly, another thing about that area is all the fresh orange juice that you can get because orange is in season down there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just were hitting those up quite a bit. But Phoenix, the downtown area is super cool. They've done a lot of revamping. I was last there like 10 years ago, and the downtown area is super cool. They got a lot of things to do.
Like what?
Well, I love to eat. So they just have really cool restaurants, really cool bars. I think they have this place called the Pemberton, and it's this, so literally just a huge space with probably anywhere from 30 to 40 food trucks.
Dang.
All lit up. There's a stage and it's always going.
Jeez.
That's a really cool spot.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. But that downtown area, also, close to the convention center, they just have a lot of really cool, trendy coffee shops, and bars. And, I try to, I'm not going to be in a bar too much, past 8 p.m., but, I love to hit a great happy hour and get a little daytime buzz,
Yeah. It's always a good time.
Yeah.
I know we've done that a few times during our travels for work.
Oh yeah. I mean, you'll be there one day. One day you'll go. You just won't be able to handle like a 2 a.m. binge.
Shoot, I can't now.
Yeah, I my perfect day is to have a few by the pool, spread out during the day, have a nice dinner, and then just start tucking her in.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. Well, I know you've also gotten to travel to a bunch of different sporting events over the years. Tell me about some of those.
Yeah, probably a lot more early on when the kids are smaller and maybe before my wife. And I say that kind of funnily, but hopefully, I think hopefully we got a trip coming up this year. I'd like to go to the USC UW football game. That's the last year that USC will be in the Pac-12. And so I would love to go down there again, go to LA. LA is another good spot, great coffee, In-N-Out, go to a game. But 2 years ago, we went and watched UW play at Michigan. So flying into Chicago, Chicago's another fantastic
Yeah,
place.
that's a fun city.
We flew into Chicago, and then we drove from Chicago down to South Bend, caught about half of a Notre Dame game, tailgated a little bit there, which was a bucket list thing for me, just being a football junkie. And then we left and drove another hour or so to Ann Arbor and went to the UW Michigan game. The Dogs got smashed, but it was still a great time.
What was that like? Because I know that's like 100,000
Yeah,
stadium.
man. Yeah, that stadium is another. I mean, honestly, between the Notre Dame Stadium and the Michigan Stadium, those were two bucket list things for me to at least see one time in my life. And they were both as advertised. Notre Dame, I would say, had a slightly better tailgate than Michigan, but Michigan's tailgate was pretty strong as well. And that's another thing. I love hitting tailgates, man. Like, to me, that's half of the experience. And so going to tailgates is, my hobby as well. And nothing was wrong with the Michigan tailgate. They actually tailgate on this golf course.
Really?
Yeah. It is. So it's a dope setup, and you could see the stadium from almost any direction. I just wasn't impressed with their food. Maybe it's a Midwest thing, but I wasn't really impressed with the spreads they were putting out. But nonetheless, anytime I can couple Chicago somewhere in the vicinity, if I'm going to the Midwest, like, I will always make sure I fly into Chicago, and that includes when we have to go to Milwaukee for work. I love flying into Chicago, using Chicago as the hub, and then training somewhere. Mm-hmm. But Chicago's a badass city, man. Yeah, I love it.
What do you like to do in Chicago?
Deep dish pizza, baby. The deep dish pizza all day long. Lou Malnati's, I mean, I think our first stop when we last flew into Chicago, we literally went from O'Hare to this place called Pequod's Pizza. And it's total Chicago type vibe, It's just all brick inside, You just feel like you're on a movie or something like that. But Pequod's Pizza, I don't know if there's one or two locations, but it's more of a home type spot, bar and stuff like that, like as opposed to Giordano's or Lou Malnati's. Those are local chains, I guess. Yeah. Pequod's is phenomenal. The fennel sausage pizza, you got to get it if you're there. Deep dish fennel sausage, just out of this world.
Sounds amazing.
Chicago has great coffee. They have great coffee. So we went to a place called the Magnolia, and it's got no affiliation with the Chip and Joanna crap, but it's a phenomenal bakery, great coffee. Every time I go to Chicago, I'll go to a different area. Mm-hmm. So one year we went to Wrigleyville. One year they called it the South Loop, but we were really downtown close to the Bean, Yeah. And then most recently we went and stayed in Hyde Park, Obama's old neighborhood. And we went to his former breakfast spot, and it was pretty bomb. Yeah.
I always like that when you can go explore a city and just, maybe walk around and try a new bakery or restaurant or something like that. That's always a fun way to explore a city, I feel like.
Yeah. And that's where I think the Midwest and East Coast get their flexes is there's so much more, I don't know, history, I guess, in those cities. So I feel like the local flair does have that historic vibe. Mm-hmm. But the Dearborn was another place we went to in downtown Chicago that it was neither a coffee shop or a pizza place, but it just had total Chicago vibes, and fantastic food and just a really cool atmosphere, just centered right in the heart of downtown.
Yeah, that's amazing. You can't beat that.
Kyle, I wish I could tell you about all the hikes I do, when I go to these places, but really, we literally just go, and I have probably like a little list saved in Yelp.
Yeah.
I probably got a list saved in Instagram where I'm just finding these little spots to hit. Viewpoints. I like viewpoints too. So there's a little nature, but it's really about just having fun, eating good, drinking good, and just taking that in.
No, I love that. I mean, that's why I love, talking to someone like you, because I'm not usually one that's focused on maybe the food and coffee when I'm traveling as much. And so I can get some tips and pointers from you, like, oh, you got to check out this spot and this spot. That makes me be able to round out a trip that I have where I'm going to all the, history places and the hikes and stuff like that.
So
To get a
you already
good meal
know,
at it.
find either a chubby dude or a girl with a big butt. They're going to tell you where to get the coffee and the food, right?
Yeah, I guess that's a good tip for everyone.
I mean, personally, if I need to find a really good place to eat, I'm probably not asking, Kyle.
Yeah.
No, I'm just being
That's
funny.
funny.
There's a lot of skinny dudes that can really eat their weight.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, it's always fun to try different places and see what's out there. How do you keep your fitness up and like kind of stay on track with maybe some of your goals there while you're traveling?
Yeah, another one that I wish I could give you a better answer. I'm glad that you actually involved my name with fitness. First of all,
I see you getting after it in the gym.
Yeah, I get after it a lot better when I'm home than what I do when I'm on the
It's
road.
always tough.
Yeah, I always tell myself I'm gonna work out 5 out of 7 days, and the end of the week comes along, and you've got like 1 or 2 days. So I really adjust my expectations. But again, I think one thing that I do enjoy to do when I am on the road, I act like I'm a musician or something, but I do like to get up early, catch a sunrise, unless you're in Chicago because there's no sunrise, right, with the skyscrapers, but catch a sunrise with maybe a walk or jog or a modified hybrid walk jog, but I love to do that. Like in Palm Springs, I'll try to find a little spot to do a trail or something and watch the sun come up. Or if I'm any place with a beach, I definitely at least one of those days need to get up really early and watch the sun come up, because to me that's just amazing. But as far as keeping up with the fitness, I think just being super active, being super active, and then I think when you look at it from a standpoint of, man, it'd be really nice to get a great workout in San Diego. Like, how cool would it be to do a walk or a jog in La Jolla? I think just looking at it in that way, then it helps your mindset, kind of shift to saying, hey, I want to have an experience over there. So that's what I do for me is, it would be great to have an experience working out at, Baton Rouge or something like that, which is another good place you got to go.
Yeah. No, I haven't been there yet. Have you?
Yeah. We went a few years back when UW played at LSU.
Oh, dang. That'd be wild.
Yeah, it was a great time. I think LSU fits 100,000. Death Valley, the stadium fits 100,000, and I promise you, there's 150,000 people actually tailgating.
Wow.
They tailgate throughout the entire campus, so they're not just on a parking lot or something like that. They're spread out within, literally in the quad, and they're just lined up next to buildings. It's insane. Yeah. And LSU really hit the mark when it comes to tailgate. But I've followed tailgating lists back when they would, when Playboy started making the best, when there were still magazines, right? Now there's no magazines, but Playboy would do the top 10 party schools, and they would do the top tailgates, right? And I truly only read it for the articles, right? But I would always follow it. And I know that LSU would always be in the top 3, a lot of SEC schools on there. LSU was definitely the best tailgate I've ever been to in my life. The people are just so friendly. They're so welcoming. They got boudin, fried frog legs, dude, just red beans and rice. They had it all. Just, it was a sight, man. It really was.
What makes a good tailgate for you?
Oh, yeah. I think good vibes is number one. I've been to tailgates even at UW that were kind of weak. But I think good vibes number one. You gotta have some good food. You gotta have good music. Some yard games are probably pretty cool too. Some cornhole or some washers, or throwing the football around. Um, and I would say the spread would be most important. The tailgates that we either throw or walk into at UW are top notch as well. Shout out to the Dogs, because I think they easily have the best tailgating in the Pac-12, which isn't saying a whole lot, right? Because the Pac-12 isn't notorious for tailgates, but I would say they're probably the only school in the West Coast that could compete with an SEC or even a Big Ten type tailgate or a Big 12 type tailgate. But great food, great people. What I learned is at LSU, at Baton Rouge, what they do is they buy a separate cooler of beer for the fans.
Dang.
Or not for the opposing fans. Right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, we're walking around, literally never bought a beer. We drank all day, never bought food. We ate all day, and we were literally just bouncing from tailgate to tailgate. And we had to force ourselves to move from tailgates because we were having such a good time that we were like, hey, we need to see some more. But the LSU faithful, they can throw a freaking tailgate, man. They can throw a freaking tailgate.
Yeah, just go check it out.
Yeah, that's definitely one that you got to hit.
I feel like, just SEC football too, like that's an experience to go see something like that.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. LSU gets down, dude. I was also way back, like in 2003, I was at the LSU versus Oklahoma national championship game,
wow.
but that was in New Orleans, right? So it was pretty much a LSU home game because it's 45 minutes from Baton Rouge. And they were tailgating pretty hard. Yeah. I got so much props for that fan base, because not only do they tailgate hard, they're usually the loudest crowd, and they travel good. They came to Seattle like 4 or 5 years ago, and they rented out multiple yachts and just LSU flags. And actually, we met a few that we contacted the next year when we went to LSU, because they felt like we gave them some good hospitality when they were up in the Northwest.
That's so cool. I mean, I think that's one of the fun things about travel is the people you meet too. And,
yes.
You make friends all over the world that you probably wouldn't have otherwise.
It's nice to know people other spots. It really is. It's such a nice thing to be able to, say somebody and then maybe just show you the local stuff as well.
Yeah, definitely.
That's another really nice
that's a good way to find all the good local places to eat and drink.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. That's why I always try to make friends with the locals.
Yeah.
Ask them, where's the best place. They usually know.
Yeah. LSU, man, you definitely got to go. I know you like football, but you're probably not like me. But if you get the chance to watch a game in LSU,
I'll go watch the Huskies lose anywhere too.
Yeah. If they bring San Diego State in, be prepared to get your ass kicked.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll
to the Pac-12. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I heard that might happen after USC and UCLA leave.
Well, there's several different options, I guess, that it could go. They're all waiting on the Pac-12 deal, and if the deal sucks, Oregon and Washington could move. The Arizona and Utah, Colorado contingent could move. But if the deal's good, they're saying, the experts are saying that they would keep Oregon, Washington, and add San Diego State. Gosh, there was another team I can't remember, but San Diego State was one of them, which would be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be a cool away game to go to.
Yeah. I think I know all the conferences are changing, but then I feel like it's nice because you get to see some different places you might not have seen.
It would be really weird for UW to be in the Big Ten, but it would be pretty sick to fly into Chicago and go to almost all of the Big Ten stadiums.
Yeah,
really,
that'd be wild.
You could get to Columbus, you can get to Ann Arbor, you can get to Champaign, Illinois, you can get to Northwestern, you can get to almost all their stadiums from Chicago.
Yeah. What's like the number one stadium on your bucket list that you haven't been to?
Oh man.
Or top 3.
I mean, I'll just spit them out there. Stadiums, ever since I was a little kid, stadiums have always been just like the thing that I just love. My brother included. I remember being really young, and if we if we passed or we took a different route and didn't fall past the King Dome, or if my brother was asleep. One time he was asleep when we passed the King Dome and he woke up and he was so pissed off that we had to drive him back so he could see the King Dome. But ever since I was a young kid, like I just love hitting the stadiums. I just hit Lambeau recently. I just hit Notre Dame, Ann Arbor. I mean, I checked off some ones that were up there. I'd love to go to Georgia.
Okay.
Not necessarily for the stadium, but for the whole vibe there, and check out their tailgate. I'd love to go to Gainesville, watch University of Florida and be there. I would like to go to Alabama, but maybe you can help me out. Is there anything besides the University of Alabama? Because that one that's the only thing that's keeping me from that one. But I'll probably want to go to that one eventually.
I'm pretty sure that's like pretty much a college town. I don't know that there's a whole lot there.
Yeah.
At least I haven't done much.
Might be an in and out trip there,
I went to Auburn's campus though.
Ooh.
That was pretty nice, but again, that's a college town. There's nothing there.
Yeah. Auburn would be on the list. I mean, just name them. I want to go to most of them. I could probably there's probably a smaller list of ones I wouldn't want to go to.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Big Ten schools, Columbus, going to the Horseshoe would be right there. But now they're also building new, especially in the pros, they're building these really sick stadiums, man. So I want to go to the LA SoFi Stadium. It's all open air, looks super cool. I got the chance to tour the Vegas Raiders Stadium. Oh, yeah. That was insane. I've been at the Cowboy Stadium, but I have never been to the one in Atlanta. That one looks pretty cool.
That one is massive. I haven't been inside it, but from outside, it's ginormous.
Yeah.
It's wild. Atlanta's a cool city too.
Atlanta's a great city.
Lots of good food.
Yeah. It's been a long, long time since I've been there. But it's a great city for sure.
Yeah. I remember those, I think it was called the Atlanta Breakfast Club. I walked in there for like brunch and I had this chicken and waffles, but it was like peaches and cream, like drizzle on it instead of the normal syrup. Oh my gosh.
You had it for breakfast?
Yeah, it was breakfast and lunch. That was amazing.
You just cashed after that one. I bet you wanted to find a couch.
Yeah.
Hopefully you had a coffee right after that.
I don't remember, but it was worth it.
Yeah, that sounds
amazing.
Bomb for sure. Hey, how great would it be if crappy food made you healthy?
It'd be really easy.
Yeah. Jeez.
But I think there is a lot of healthier foods out there that do taste good. And if you find that spot that makes that healthy food taste really good, like that's such a good spot, such a rare find.
That's why being at, around the beaches too is nice because seafood, you can rarely go bad unless you just dunk it in a bunch of batter. But that's what's nice about eating on the coast.
Yeah, for sure.
You can get some local fare, but I mean, I could talk for days about going different places. Baseball, I'm kind of rekindling my love with baseball with my son. He's all into it. I mean, when we stayed in Wrigleyville, we didn't go to a game, but we hung out around Wrigley and that would still be there. Boston, that would be tight. I'm just more of a football fan. And college football, I feel like has the stadiums, and then, NFL has the newer stadiums that you want to see just for novelty,
Yeah. What do you, or I guess, how do you feel, or what do you think your kids think about travel now that they've gotten to do a lot of that as well?
It's been an expensive shift because I feel like they used to not be that into traveling, and Amanda and I would go places and they just prefer to go to their grandma and grandpa's and just hang out.
Yeah.
Now there's not a trip they want to miss. I think we last went to Orange County for a work thing a few months ago, and they were just completely pissed off that Amanda went and they didn't go. And it was kind of a work trip. So I was like, hey, you little shits. Like, hey, you don't have to go to everything, but they pretty much want to go to everything. So they love it. And, like my boy, probably he wants to take some sort of RC toy and he wants to rip it around somewhere local, right? So I just bought him a RC boat, and I know he has
I
plans.
saw that you were out like on the lake or
Yeah,
something doing
it's
that.
super cool, but he's already talking about taking it to certain areas and, you know, flying with it or whatever. But they love the food. They love coffee shops, even though they don't get coffee. They like going to coffee shops. You know, my only daughter, she's 14. She's just very much like herself, her not herself, but Amanda and I. And she wants to shop and eat and drink coffee. Yeah. But they love it. They're expensive. I don't have cheap kids. My daughter will eat the highest, most expensive fish. She'll eat oysters. She'll eat
Dang.
sushi. You know, so she's not cheap. Sam's a little bit pickier, but he likes steak. So, get prepared for that, man. Instead of like a $60 to $80 bill, you're minimum looking at like 150.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's got to be fun though, seeing them get excited about all of that though.
Oh yeah. I mean, not to take a depressing turn, but the time really just does fly by. It really does, man. It is to just think that, in under 10 years, they may both be out of the house. That's weird. That's a weird thought. So every time I maybe feel like not pulling the trigger on a trip or something like that, that makes me just automatically book that trip. But just being with them on the road, in some cool place is really cool. And they managed to just transform into locals pretty well too. Like when we're in Cali, they act like two Cali kids, it's funny. But they have their favorite restaurants, big In-N-Out fans. If I didn't choose to go In-N-Out off the plane, they would make me go to In-N-Out off the plane. But yeah, they're looking forward to our next trip. It's Phoenix, but it's Phoenix again. So I just feel like we can explore the city a little bit more, rather than now it's the second time. And possibly Miami this year. So I'll have to reach out to you to give me some tips.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That's a long flight.
Yeah. 6 hours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I could do 6 to 8 hours, no problem. You start telling me I'm going to look at 10 plus hours, Mexico's going to start looking a lot better to me.
Yeah. Oh, didn't you got to do a cruise a few years ago down there?
Yeah. Yeah. We did a cruise, actually the week before the pandemic started.
Oh, that's right.
We came back from our cruise and ironically had it to be back in California a week later. So we flew back-to-back weekends and we were watching the news in San Diego, and literally the boat we were on was one of the first boats they wouldn't let back on land. And so the same exact ship, 7 days later, they got stranded for 3 or 4 days on their ship.
That's so wild.
Yeah. But that was awesome. We cruised the Mexican Riviera. So we went to Cancun, Mazatlan, and Cabo San Lucas.
Yeah.
And they were all great. And that's where I decided, all right, we're going to Puerto Vallarta, dude. They were all great, but Puerto Vallarta it's just an amazing place.
Why is that?
I feel like it's everything Hawaii is, also for half the price. And better food. Yes, better food. Hawaii's got great food. And that's not saying nothing about that. But I mean, Mexico, where mangoes are off the tree, coconuts are off the tree, the best seafood, and let's just be honest, the best cooks in the world are Mexican cooks. So Puerto Vallarta was absolutely amazing. Have you been?
No, I haven't been yet.
That has to be next on your
I know, I need to get down there. I really haven't explored Mexico other than Tijuana and Tecate, which is totally different from
So what you're saying is
and Puerto Vallarta.
I'd rather not go to a 4-diamond restaurant. Just plant me in Tijuana where the cartels are.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're saying.
I had a class that was in Tijuana when I was going to school in San Diego.
You know what? You're from Yakima, so you're not afraid of Tijuana, bro.
It wasn't a big deal.
You're already thug life.
It really wasn't that bad. I think, now there's been some stuff going on recently, but when I was there, 5, 6 years ago, never felt in danger. I was with a group, but it wasn't a big deal at all. There's a lot of cool places there.
Oh
A lot
yeah.
of like hidden places you would never imagine.
There's so much weird things out in the media that should make you fear going to Mexico. It's ridiculous. And then you get to Mexico and the people are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The food's amazing. They're very hospitable, like obviously you can't generalize a whole contingent, but I've never had a bad experience in Mexico.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's so many places around the world. You hear the bad things on the news, but that just makes up one small like subset of people from that place.
Yeah.
You could say the same thing about the U.S., but most people out there are just friendly and just happy to be living and doing life.
So when you were at San Diego State, you never went to I know a lot of kids in that area will go to like Ensenada or Rosarito, right?
No, I never did go down there.
But they look like nice places too.
Yeah, definitely fun places. Most people would go for spring break,
right,
and party. that wasn't me. So, I did go. Like, I went to Guatemala for spring break to teach English. That was incredible.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, no, I wish I would have gone down there. Like, if I had some friends that wanted to go, kind of thing. It'd be really fun to go along the coast down there.
Oh yeah,
in Baja California.
Yeah, Baja is kind of where I want to check out eventually. Like the wine country, like the Guadalupe wine country out there, looks really cool.
Yeah. There's so many beautiful spots everywhere around the world.
Yeah.
But now Mexico.
All right. So after Nepal, you got to do Mexico.
Okay. If you're coming with me, then I'm in.
Well, I'll have to ask Amanda.
She can come too.
Yeah, they're gonna all want to come. Take the whole damn.
I'll be your third kid.
Yeah, there we go. No, you'll have a good time. Definitely have a good time, man. The food's incredible, dude. The beaches. I mean, the Pacific Ocean's just where it's at. I mean, name a bad place on the ocean that lines the Pacific.
Yeah,
I can't think of one.
So many good spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, Mexico's great. There's obviously, traveling to all the football stadiums around the country, traveling with the kids. I mean, there's so many fun things to do when you travel.
Well, we may be going to the USC game if you want to hop in. We might need a white guy driving just to keep the cops away. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
There we go.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. I mean, you really just you got to come to a UW tailgate, man.
Yeah.
Talk about a tailgate that hits all the markers, the shores of Montlake, Seattle.
That's such a pretty setup right there.
Shores of Montlake, good food, good vibes. I recommend doing it in September because if you're not a diehard, the sun does disappear and the rain stops and the rain doesn't stop, I'll go in any element, but there are great tailgate vibes there.
Yeah. No, next time you go, let me know. I'm in for it. Well, John, anything else that you want to share in regards to travel?
No, I really enjoy your stuff. It makes me want to travel further. But I do think there's just so many endless places you can still go on this continent. And I really want to try to explore other places in Mexico, not only the places on the beach, Guadalajara, Guanajuato, those are, Mexico, even Mexico City. Mm-hmm. I read an article semi-recently that talked about the artwork and the restaurants in Mexico cities. Like, you would think you were in parts of Europe and things like that. And I think a lot of people don't realize how many different variations in Mexico or different regions that are going to blow you away.
Yeah.
You're only thinking of, probably Senor Frogs or some shit like that. But yeah, just exploring Mexico. I honestly don't have any Canada experience, so I'd like to do some Canada stuff. I hear a lot about Vancouver, BC.
Mm-hmm. Kind of similar to Seattle, but
right?
Vancouver's awesome.
Yeah. Which, my brother was telling me about it, and I go, well, dude, it sounds exactly like Seattle. Yeah. But I guess I'll take his recommendations, check it out. But there's just so many other places I want to see. And I just enjoy just really just kind of feeling like I live there for a week, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I like to do when I'm there, is just kind of make believe like I'm in the middle of downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
Um,
That's cool.
but you know, any way I can get it, whether it's a tailgate or a family trip or even I'll take most work trips that are in cool places and turn them into, you know, an adventure all the time.
Yeah. I feel like what you were saying with volleyball, you'll book 2 extra days before and after. I think that's a really cool way to do it, because you get, obviously you're busy with whatever it is you're doing, but then you got some family time and some downtime to kind of relax and explore too. It's got to make for some fun trips.
Well, I think one thing that's always underestimated, maybe it's not if you're older, but I think even younger, it could be kind of taxing on the body flying. You know, it's like, why am I tired? All I did was walk to the gate, sit down, walk, to the baggage claim or whatever.
Yeah.
But for some reason, you just kind of feel like crap a lot when you fly.
Yeah.
And so I always have learned, or not always, but I have recently learned to really just take buffer days, man. I used to always think that I needed to work right up until an hour before we left. Now it's like, hell no, I need to be off the day before we leave, and I need to be off the day after I get home.
Yeah.
It's like, be realistic. So I think that's a great traveling tip too. It's like, be realistic.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. You can answer this, but what are the odds you're going to travel all 7 days or work out all 7 days that you're on a trip?
Yeah. Pretty slim.
Right. Yeah. So what if you say, I'm going to do 3 out of 7 or 4 out of 7 days, I'm going to get a workout in. And then it's just, being realistic.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, you can find ways to work, like the fitness. I always try to walk when I'm traveling, and like, okay, this is my workout for the day kind of thing. Like I'll get 20,000 steps in.
Oh yeah.
Just exploring a city, and like, that's good for, for a workout for the day.
Yeah. That's a great one too. You'll look on all these local places that, okay, that's a 4-minute drive or a 19-minute walk.
Yeah.
Unless it's the very end of the day, because sometimes you're beat at the end of the day.
For sure.
Like, fuck it, let's walk it.
Yeah, save the $30 for an Uber and just walk it. Yeah.
And then I'm convincing myself that it's burning off the double burger In-N-Out.
Hey, it helps.
I think I've done that before too. Like, you know what? We're gonna walk to In-N-Out. Let's see if we can combat this giant meal.
With In-N-Out though, it's worth it. I just say screw it. I'm having it.
Yeah, you really just have to say fuck it a little bit when you got to enjoy yourself. You got to taste the local fare. Unless there's a real allergy, maybe have that gluten. Maybe have that dairy, but watch it if it's a freaking deep dish pizza, because that's a lot of dairy.
That's something else.
Yeah. But now traveling's fun, man. I just really give a lot of kudos to you, just really getting out of there, because you are really stretching your comfort zone, and that's one thing that I've seen in you, like the last 3 or 4 years, is you've really just pushed your comfort zone. You just become a people person that's working out hard and just going for it. So props to you, bro.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And, I appreciate everything that, you've done for me over the years. And, honestly, I feel like you kind of supported me in those travels and some of those adventures that I took that, might not have been the smartest business decision or whatever, but it was a good life experience. You helped me through some pretty tough times too in there. And to spoil one of the acknowledgments in my book that is published, I gave a little shout out to John here, because he was a huge part of my my young adult life, and as I've moved into my later 20s now.
How old are you now?
27.
Jeez, bro. What time? You were like 22 when I met you. 23.
I had just turned 22, I think.
Damn.
Yeah. It's like, man, so much has happened in that 5 years. Like, so much life.
Life's so weird, man. Life's
wild.
So weird, because you just, I don't know about you, but you have this vision that you're just going to get it one day, And I read a quote recently from a book. Look at me sound like a real podcaster. It's called The Book of Naval by Naval Ravikant.
Okay.
Very good book. But one of his quotes in there was, something to the effects of, there are no adults in this world. And I thought, man, that is right on, because, I'm 42 now, bro. Crazy.
Jeez.
42, but that's just a true statement, both in observations of others and myself. Like, I can't believe I'm an adult right now. It's really weird. But when you look at the whole world, you realize, yeah, there's just a bunch of grown ass kids,
Yeah.
In this world. But yeah, life really teaches you a lot. You've grown so much, killing it, and I'm killing it.
Yeah.
We're just doing things how you're supposed to do. And,
I think you just got to enjoy the journey. There's going to be ups and downs, throughout all of it, but you keep staying focused on what you can control and the positive side of things. It'll work out in the end.
Yeah. Well, so make sure you go to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Invite me next time.
You got to go to Mexico. You got to go to a couple tailgates, man.
All right, I'm in for it. That's my next travels. Once we do those, we'll do a podcast again.
Well, dogs will start September. I think I have been thinking something about some tailgate focus type podcast. I think that would be a lot of good time. That would be a good time.
That'd be fun to do, is like a podcast at tailgates and just you talk with random people that are there.
Yeah, like talk about where you're going to go, talk about experiences, maybe bring on other podcasters. I don't know. There's a podcast for everything.
Yeah,
now. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man.
Cool. Well, I appreciate the time. I appreciate you sharing your travels with me and with the listeners, and look forward to seeing you somewhere around the world soon.
All right.
Bye, everyone. Hey, everybody. Kyle here. If you enjoyed today's show and want more, you can always check out every episode on Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, and now Amazon Music as well. Just search for Our Travel Experiences on any of those platforms and it will pop up. You can also find everything all in one place on my website, ourtravelexp.com. And if you want to see my travel pictures as well as travel pictures from guests on the show, you can check them out on Instagram. The page is called Our Travel Experiences Podcast. And if you want to share your own pictures on the Instagram page or be a guest on the podcast, you can message me via that Instagram page or email me at ourtravelexperiences@outlook.com. I would love to see your pictures and hear about your travel experiences, so please send them my way. And if that isn't enough for you, make sure to check out my weekly YouTube show, From Around the World Fridays. Every Friday, I'm taking 5 to 10 minutes to answer questions from listeners, share some souvenirs that I bought over the years, share my postcards over the years that I've accumulated, or share videos and pictures from one particular city or country that I visited, and so much more. So check it out, guys. You won't be disappointed, and make sure you go subscribe to that as well. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you somewhere around the world soon.